Need insurance coverage that's built for speed? Frank Yea's office in South Charleston has your back. Whether you're blazing down the highway, protecting the home you've built, or setting up a legacy for your family, we've got the coverage you need. Auto, home, life, fast, simple, and made for you. Scan the QR code on your screen now to explore all our services and start a free quote today. Lock it in, save it for later, or call us at 304-744-7700 to get started.
The dream of North Wilkesboro Speedway began in the mid-1940s when Enoch Staley found inspiration in a stock car race that Bill France had promoted in South Carolina before the formation of NASCAR. The story goes that Staley and his partners ran out of money to create their perfect oval, leaving the track with an uphill slope on the backstretch and a downhill slope to the finish. Such was born one of the most unique short tracks in NASCAR history. A .625 mile oval that hosted the Cup Series twice a year until 1996. Jeff Gordon won the final race here. From the second to last checkered flag fell, race fans have clamored for the return of North Wilkesboro. And now, we go back in time. The track has been digitally restored to its 1987 state, giving iRacers the opportunity to relive the iconic North Carolina short track as it existed in its heyday. Richard Petty won here 8 times. Darrell Waltrip 10 times, including 5 in a row. Who will win tonight in the Vigilante Racing All-Star Race? It's next on Track Limits Network. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the virtual North Wilkesboro Speedway for tonight's All-Star Race of season number 11. Race details for tonight. It's not 160 laps, it's 200 laps. We'll get that squared away before the night's over. In fact, there it is. It's fixed. 79-degree ambient temperature, 43% humidity, partly cloudy skies, and 9-mile-per-hour breeze. Maximum fuel tonight, 45%. 4 sets of tires over the wall. Fast repairs, we got one, just one. And green-white checkers, also one if necessary. Track temp 109 degrees Fahrenheit. That fuel percentage should get the drivers between 61 and 65 laps on a full load. We'll see how that carries on throughout the evening. We may not need to necessarily worry about it. Short track racing, hot tempers. Going to be some wrecks here tonight probably, but we'll see how it plays out. Practice just about wrapped up. I'm joined up here in the broadcast booth with Chris Goins yet again. Chris, how are you, man? Thanks for joining us.
Hey, I'm doing well, Steve. Good to be here. Looking forward to this. Looking forward to some fireworks like you're talking about.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. This place, it can surprise you. It can be a clean race all the way through. Again, a smaller field as it is an all-star event. Not running the large fields like we usually see in VRL, but I don't know. It's a lot of prestige to win these.
Absolutely, especially at a place like this, you know, with the history and the nostalgia factor behind it. You got quite a few guys that are going to be going for that victory lane here.
Top time so far, it's the 84 of Josh Bittner with a 17.96. Not a great year, but a good lap time. Only driver to crack below 18 seconds. And you got Dylan Bryant, Dickerson, Kelly Cool. Practice is over. Black and red flags on the session. We'll get into qualifying immediately after. Qualifying 2 laps, 5 minutes, whatever comes first. As we wait to see who pulls out of pit lane first, I got to ask you, Chris, I mean, it's been a while since we've even called a race here. It's at least a full year for track limits to call any action here at this particular speedway. But what are some keys to success to get around this place? I know it's a very unique short track. It's old, it's wore out, it's bumpy, it's uphill, then it's downhill. Now, how do you get around this place successfully?
Yeah, the main thing is trying to keep the truck underneath you coming out of the corner. It is slick, like you said, very abrasive. So these tires, you'll see them go away pretty quickly. But the ideal line, like you see right here, is with Gallagher. He's kind of running that top lane, kind of mid track and up is the fastest way around. If you get stuck on the bottom, it's really tough to pass on the bottom. So, you can keep people underneath you and keep the speed up on the outside. I think you have a good job of staying in front of whoever you're racing. .07 for Gallagher. We're going to reload this. Overlay not cooperating a little bit tonight, but we got it back up and running. Wittenberg now goes top of the board, 1923. Dixon going around here. It's not the fastest way to get around Wilkesboro. Interesting, you see these times. We saw a high 17 in practice, and now Alan Vaught fastest with a 19.1. .19601 for Coffin puts him 16th. A little wiggle off turn 4, lap 2 in the books. 19.529, still 16th, a little pickup. Kelly Cool in the 01. 19.491 his first lap, top 15 starting position for now. Drops one down. We'll see if second lap is any quicker. 19.36 puts him into the top 10. .1929, John McAdam goes 8th quick. Few drivers have yet to take a time. It's Larry Dickerson, Russ Kilgore, Chris Klein. Time running out here. 3 minutes elapsed in this 5-minute session. With that, though, we're going to take a short break. It's qualifying coming to an end. We'll be back with our starting grid after this. Stay with us.
Need insurance coverage that's built for speed? Frank Yea's office in South Charleston has your back. Whether you're blazing down the highway, protecting the home you've built, or setting up a legacy for your family, we've got the coverage you need. Auto, home, life, fast, simple, and made for you. Scan the QR code on your screen now to explore all our services and start a free quote today. Lock it in, save it for later, or call us at 304-744-7700 to get started.
Welcome back to North Wilkesboro Speedway. Qualifying in the books. Let's take a look at our starting grid. On the pole position with a lap time of 19.101 seconds, it's the 33 of Alan Vaught. Outside pole, the number 89 of Craig Goodenough, missed it by 64 thousandths of a second. Row number 2, it's Andrew Player and Chris Klein. A late attempt for Chris Klein. Track temperature cooled down a touch, put him into the top 5. Row number 3 is Ricky Wittenberg and Dave Mayberry. Row 4, Dylan Bryant and Josh Bittner. Fastest in practice was the 84. Row number 5, it's John McAdam and Dustin Eaton. Starting 11th will be the 53 of Jeremiah Burke, and the 01 in 12th, that's Kelly Cool. Starting in the 13th position is John Osborne. 14th goes to Mike Adamson. Jack Dixon 15th. 16th starter, it's Jason Gaines. Albert Anderson, the number 99, will start 17th. Andrew Coffin 18th. Stoney Benfield in the 75 will start from the 19th position. Rounding out the top 20 is John Gallagher in the 1-2-3. 21st starter, it's the 6 of Trevor Robertson and the 69 of Larry Dickerson starting 22nd. Last but not least, shotgun on the field, it is the 2 of Russ Kilgore. He'll start 23rd. It's your starting grid here from North Wilkesboro Speedway. Field already starting its parade lap. Should be 2 here before we get rolling. Again, race details again this evening. 200 laps the distance, 78-degree temperature, 45% humidity under partly cloudy skies, 7-mile-per-hour breeze, track temp 102 degrees Fahrenheit, a 45% fuel load on board, 4 sets of tires over the wall, 1 fast repair, 1 green-white checkered if necessary. That fuel window is about 61 to 65 laps depending on how these guys push, but I don't know, getting a full 61 laps under the green flag here tonight. We'll see if they can make it happen. I've got faith they're capable of it, but I don't know. Excitement level is high. We'll see. Got some stream chatters already. Tom Janikowski, Kyle Vaught, Tim McAdam, and of course, Lori. Congrats to everyone that made the All-Star race, and we're getting ready to go racing. Pace truck makes the hard left, green flag in the air, and we are racing from North Wilkesboro. First lap in the books. Alan Vaught keeps the race lead. Leads lap number 1. Goodenough second. Klein third. Andrew Player. Ricky Wittenberg the balance of the top 5. Field in 3 and 4. Crazy action here further back through the pack. The 47, John McAdam, Dustin Eaton, Mike Adamson. I believe they were all 3 wide out of turn 4. They got it doubled up at least. No wreck. Oh, now we got one around. Looks like maybe Dylan Bryant spins down the backstretch. No caution, didn't hit anything. Just going to lose a ton of track position. Bryant rejoins the fight. The only benefit here is he doesn't have any traffic to deal with now, but he's going to have the race leaders knocking on the tailgate here relatively soon. Already 5 laps in. He's going to have to run some good laps or pray for a caution. Now, what does that do to the tires, Chris? So when you spin the truck out, you don't hit anything. Obviously, you're going to put some heat into it, but it is the first lap or 2 around this place. Not a whole lot of heat already built into these tires.
Yeah, if you're going to do it early, right? So, he'll lose a little bit of life on him with that spin. But this early on, as long as he can stay, on lead lap and stay competitive, I think he'll be fine in terms of tire wear. He's usually one that does a really good job of saving them anyway. So I think we'll see him back up there before the night's over.
Meanwhile, we got a battle for the race lead. Alan Vaught under pressure with Craig Goodenough knocking on the door. Tucked right up behind the 33. Out of turn number 4. Crosses the start-finish line. Goodenough drives it in deep. Goodenough seems pretty quick there. Last lap, almost a half-tenth quicker than race leader Alan Vaught. I think if he could get clear of Alan, he might be able to put some distance on him. Goodenough just showing the nose on the entrance to turn 3. Stream chat still real busy. Of course, we had Dustin Wade now, Kyle Vaught, Kathy A., Rhett Arnell, Jillian, and Dustin Wade. Dustin makes a good point, says Craig is super good here. We're seeing that already as he's all over Alan Vaught. Go on board now with Craig Goodenough and the driver's eye camera. We'll see how he gets around this place. Maybe he can get the pass done in the meantime. Nice and smooth on the throttle. Interesting here down in 3 and 4, you've actually got a bit of a curb to the left side. You don't really have that down into 1. You do have that pit wall that juts out a little bit, but it goes away pretty quick. Just grass to the deep part of the racetrack down low.
Yeah, I love watching these two guys race each other. I've raced with them a couple of times here, and just watching them be as close as they are to each other. They know how each other races. They trust each other, and they can get really close to each other.
Real close indeed. Goodenough gets to the inside of Alan Vaught here in the middle of 3 and 4. Might have the lead here on the exit. Goes out in front at the stripe. No, Vaught leads it, but maybe by an inch. Goodenough slides up the track, pushes Alan Vaught there. Finally gets clear. That battle calming down slightly. We'll see if Goodenough can put some distance on the 33. Meanwhile, Andrew Player in third, quietly working his way up towards these two. Kyle Vaught in the chat. Craig is indeed good enough. But Ricky Wittenberg back in the 4th position. He's up 1 spot from 5th. Battle for position here. John McAdam to the inside of the 88 of Mike Adamson. And they come together.
Caution.
Smoke flies and the caution is out.
Boss, you're doing a good job. You want to give us an update on that car?
Multiple drivers involved in this. Kind of a chain reaction incident once the 47 and the 88 came together. And Larry Dickerson still having some trouble back there. Well, let's get a look. So it's between McAdam and Adamson. McAdam came up off the bottom just a bit. Adamson was coming down at the same time, and Burke just kind of gets caught in the middle. Burke got in this wreck twice. It's the first caution of the night. 21 laps in here at Wilkesboro. Craig Goodenough, the leader. Alan Vaught, Andrew Player, Ricky Wittenberg, Chris Klein. That's your top 5. A couple of drivers opting for pit lane. Looks like both drivers just topping off the fuel tank. I mean, you never know, Chris. I mean, it's kind of a gamble right now. You're giving up track position, but as we noted in the beginning of this race, a shorter field than we're used to, given that it is an all-star event. But if the cautions fall just right, fuel mileage works out the way it needs to, who's to say these guys aren't there, the only ones at the end with the right amount of fuel to make it to the finish?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you like you said, you never know if this thing does go green the rest of the way. These guys may be in decent shape, because if you work it backwards, you said it was what, around 60 laps on a tank of fuel?
Yeah, average about 63 to 64, I think. But if you save extra, maybe you get 65, 66, or if you're super aggressive, maybe it's a little less.
Well, and you're looking, it's, you know, you're at the lap like 23 right now. So if you work that backwards, that 180 to the end, divide that by 60, you got 3 more stops and you've made it to the end. And you got guys that are going to need to make 4 up front.
We'll see how it plays out. Green flag back in the air. Goodenough gets away, but Andrew Player jumps to the inside of Alan Vaught, but checks up. I don't know if he jumped to start and was trying to yield the position back. He seemed to really check up hard out of turn 2. Kelly Cool working back into the top 10. Puts Osborne back to 11th in the 81, but still not quite clear. Osborne battles back, working the outside, that number 81, the Tide colors. Osborne takes the spot, or at least defends it well. Kelly Cool will have to sit outside the top 10 for the time being, but now battles back to the inside. Still nothing doing for the 01. Albert Anderson out of line, goes to the bottom of the racetrack. Might have picked up a position, maybe 2, as they're 3 wide off turn 2. Anderson in the 17th spot. That's where he started. They have lost some positions earlier on in the run. Getting some back. Albert Anderson, Stoney Benfield side by side behind them. It's Trevor Robertson and John McAdam. Ahead of them is the 88 of Mike Adamson. I gotta say, caution's out. We'll go back to that topic later.
About the car at all?
Chris Klein in trouble. Facing the wrong way here. I think this is turn 3. See what happened. So this is the exit at 2. Klein in a battle with Burke and just runs out of real estate.
Yeah, that backstretch is slightly curved for you too. So if you're, taking it straight, you kind of run out of room to the top side. And I think that's what you saw happen there. I don't think Burke had anywhere really to go. And Klein, just the curve of the backstretch just moved him up a little bit. So I wouldn't consider fault of anybody necessarily, just one of those racing deals.
Now, Burke does get a tiny bit loose on exit. Was trying to keep as much space for Klein as he could, but again, tight racetrack. As you said, there's really nowhere to go. So Klein will be categorized in the 21st spot. I don't know if he's officially lost a lap yet. We'll find out momentarily. What I was going to say, though, it's just looking at this racetrack in its mid-'80s form, I think it's really neat that iRacing went ahead and did this scan and then updated the artwork to reflect it from how it looked back in the day. But with all of that said, Chris, we've run the new modern repave of North Wilkesboro in real life now, and I think it's time iRacing scans that as well.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it'll be a very interesting, and maybe they should just kind of keep both, right?
Oh, 100%.
Have a legacy one, and then the new ones. So, run the '87 cars on the old one, and these guys on the new one. But yeah, I think, like you said, maybe due for an upgrade here with some of the new artwork, and I think it'll make for some really good racing too.
I mean, it's not our money.
That's true.
I mean, a portion of it is.
I was going to say it will be once they come out with a new scan.
Yeah, exactly.
At this point.
All right, pace truck in, ready for the restart.
Green flag.
Barney with the green, waves it, we're off and running. Alan Vaught back to the point.
That's a tire spin. Good pack.
3 wide for a couple of rows here. Oh, they come together. Robertson gets into Mayberry. Caution is out again.
All right, Bud, why don't you give me status on your car there?
Very similar incident we just saw in the previous caution. Kind of running out of room. Let's go back, take another look. So watch the 29 in the middle there, and then the Valvoline number 6 up top. They're 3 wide, of course. And Robertson just tries to give as much room as he can, but he ends up getting in the wall trying to give that space.
Osborne coming in with nowhere to go. Hopefully didn't cause too much damage to those guys there. Going back to that restart, I think the 29 was the one that may have spun the tires and kind of got himself in the middle there, 3 wide on that restart.
Well, let's watch. We'll see what happens here. We'll watch this one. This is the restart. Oh, yeah. Broke loose. Jacked everybody up. Good catch. So some cloud cover falling on the Speedway here. 39 laps in. We'll see what that does to track temperatures. Currently 100 degrees Fahrenheit. I think we're about 109, I believe. I think it was at the start. Dustin Wade said, "That dang crash, Barry." He did say, "Just kidding, just kidding." Don't want to make Dave mad. All right, lights are out on the iRacing pace truck. We'll try this again. Restart will be at lap 41. Alan Vaught, Josh Bittner. Remember, Bittner was really fast in practice. We'll see if he's got anything. He spins the tires, though. Here we go again. Alan Vaught will get away here by a handful of truck lengths. Everybody seems to survive at this point, though. Kelly Cool, though, working his way into the top 5 for the first time today. Working to the outside of Ricky Wittenberg. Dylan Bryan, after his early spin, he gets caught up. And there's contact now. The 123 of Gallagher. He drifts it through, and the caution still comes out. Oh, Albert Anderson gets into the door. Dylan Bryant dirt tracking it through 3 and 4. Still going to escape this one with minimal damage, still some. Watch it again here from the blimp. Yeah, Gallagher just got in too hot, slid up the racetrack. A little bit of contact with the wall for Bryant, and then Albert Anderson makes some contact as well. So, Chris, on this old layout, is aero really that important? I know they say anything above, I think, 75, 80 mile an hour, it makes some difference, but does it play a factor here?
I think it does to an extent. It just, maybe not for overall speed, but handling, definitely. It's, you know, you get a little bit of damage in these trucks, and it can throw a wrench in a few things with how the truck's handling. So a little bit tougher to get into the corner on the brakes, a little bit harder to get out of it, you know, depending on where the damage is. So definitely takes away the drivability factor, and can burn up tires at that point too. You know, if you're trying to chase the truck and it's sliding all over the place, you get those tires heated up, you're wearing them out way more than the guy that has a clean truck.
Relying more on the mechanical grip, which induces a bit more friction.
Precise. Scientific term.
Rolling resistance. Is that what we're talking about?
I don't know. I didn't graduate high school, Steve.
I'm just throwing out terms I don't understand, so. All right, fourth caution of the night. Restart coming, lap 46. Front row, it's going to be Vaught and Bittner again. Base truck is in.
Green, green, green.
Barney with the green. It waves. We're back after it. Sun peeking back out here at Wilkesboro. And Alan Vaught gets away. A couple of truck lengths back to Bittner yet again. Now Ricky Wittenberg trying to apply some pressure for the second spot, and Craig Goodenough working his way back through again. Jason Gaines, John Osborne. Gaines the number 83 on the top lane. So Osborne gets through, so Osborne now 11th. Albert Anderson cracking the top 10. Up 7 spots. Change for the second position. We're a battle forward at least side by side. Goodenough and Bittner. Off turn number 2. Just like that, Goodenough's got it, but Bittner's going to try and battle back. To no avail. Opens the door for Ricky Wittenberg. Chris Klein having a moment, gets back on the racetrack, but a little bit slow. I don't know if he drove it through the grass, but still no caution. Still watching these battles here. This is the bottom half of the top 10. John McAdam, John Osborne, 9th and 10th. Stoney Benfield ahead in the 75. He runs 8th. And we missed it. Goodenough is taking the lead and driving away from Alan Vaught. Did that quietly while we're watching all these other battles. We'll see if we can pull that pass for the lead and show it to you. In fact, here it is. Just 2 laps ago, lap 53. Back it up a little further here. This is down into turn 1. Goodenough sticks the nose to the bottom of the racetrack. Vaught gives him all the room he needed. Allen fought him for a couple of corners, but decided, you know what, I'm going to take care of these tires. So Goodenough to a 1.1 second advantage. We'll see how much distance he can put between himself and the 33. We've already heard guys talking about Craig Goodenough being very fast at this place. So what do you do in this situation, Chris? You know you've got talent. You know you're at a racetrack that you're typically a little bit better than most at. But you do run the risk of catching those cautions, kind of equalizing everybody back up. Do you push hard now to build a gap, or do you save the truck?
No, I think you just get in your rhythm, and once you're in your rhythm, I think you will end up taking care of the tires and your truck naturally. You know, it's when you start trying to push to gain those extra tenths to pull away or woe it up to maybe save some fuel or save some tires a little bit. You kind of break that rhythm. You miss a corner or two here and there. Put a little added heat in the tires. Give somebody, you know, a couple of tenths here and there, and eventually they end up drawing back to you. So I think with Craig, his experience, he's just going to get in a rhythm right here, and if you watch him for laps, he'll run the same line lap after lap after lap. Just he's so consistent to be able to do it. He'll just get in that rhythm.
Well, speaking of rhythm, let's go on board here. Look at the driver's eye camera yet again here with Craig Goodenough. Let's watch him for a lap. He's getting out of 4 here. Cross start finish line in just a moment. You can almost see it. Goes downhill. Truck gets a little bit light in the rear end. Loose on entry in turn 1. Opposite problem in 3.
And you notice he's when he's getting into 3 there, he's preventing the truck from getting too much into that yaw to keep it from going around on him by taking that real shallow entry. So you watch him going into 3 here, he's going to take a real shallow entry to 3 and kind of let it ride.
Kind of diamonding the corners here in turns 1 and 2. Well, that was scary. Thought we lost the broadcast for a minute. Don't worry, we're good. Goodenough now out to a 2.6 second advantage. He is just lights out around this place. Mike Adamson showing his short track abilities as well as he continues to march forward. Dustin Eaton back in 6th. It's one thing I've noticed, too, a lot of the times that the guys that perform well on the road courses tend to do well on the short tracks. Now, obviously, we're not turning right anywhere here, but the braking ability, the talent that goes into running a road course and being good on the brakes has some benefits here on the short tracks.
Absolutely. There's a lot of trail braking that goes into short track racing that you utilize a lot in the road courses. I think that's where you see these guys excel.
Bittner might have got the wall there off of 2. He's starting to shed some positions. He's back to 6, maybe losing more here in a moment. No! Dustin Eaton real sideways. Might have got that inside Armco a bit, but we stay green for the time being. Definitely picked up some damage. I don't think he had help. I think he just lost the truck.
Caution.
Now the caution's out. John Gallagher in trouble.
Comments there, bud?
Chan the man says, wow, been a pretty clean race so far. Wow, thanks. It's not a broadcaster's curse. It's the stream chat curse. All right, let's see what happened to John here. I don't know if he just overdrove it or didn't expect to get to the outside of McAdam there, but then he got in the marbles and it came around on him. Burke gets tagged. He comes around. Andrew Player gets a small piece. So pit stops underway. Alan Vaught, Ricky Wittenberg, Josh Bittner, Kelly Kuhl, Eaton, McAdam, Dickerson. Those are the takers thus far. Some other drivers made their pit stops earlier. Craig Goodenough, Mike Adamson came down at lap 32. Trevor Robertson, 42. So this could be fun to watch. There's going to be a lot of varying strategies here. We talked about that early on in the race. I think it was the 6 and one other driver that put themselves on a different fuel strategy. But now we've got really 3 different ideas out here.
Yeah, now we get to see who has the patience to come up through the field with newer tires.
Should get the one to go across the stripe. There it is. So green flag racing the next time. Lap 75. Craig Goodenough, Mike Adamson, the top 2. Trevor Robertson and Stoney Benfield, 3rd and 4th. John Osborne, Albert Anderson, Jason Gaines, Jeremiah Burke, John Gallagher, and it looks like Jack Dixon will round out the top 10. Pace truck is in. Green flag called for. We're back racing at North Wilkesboro. Goodenough gets out to the jump. Already a half-second advantage over Trevor Robertson. Oh, and trouble.
Fellas, we have got a very, very difficult official this week, so make sure we're minding our P's and Q's.
All right, let's take a look at this. Mayberry in the 29. A 3 wide behind him. And then 3 wide ahead of him. Gallagher turning in. He gets loose on entry. Sends the 55 up the racetrack into the path of Mayberry and Bittner. Dylan Bryant just apparating through Mayberry. It almost looks like as soon as Gallagher got on the brake there, it wanted to come around. Think he's got too much rear brake in that truck?
It's possible. There's also a bit of a transition when it comes to banking right there too. So it could have been that as well. But it did look like a bit of rear brake there that may have caused that.
So those that might be novices to what that means as far as too much rear brake, these are adjustable braking systems. You can change the percentage front to back to how aggressive you want either the front or the rear brake assemblies to apply. The trick to it is you put more rear brake into it. You can slow the truck down a lot faster in a straight line, but it does make it less stable and more inclined to come around and spin out. So it's kind of a trade-off. The drivers have the ability to make those changes while they're driving. I've seen some drivers actually make those adjustments multiple times during the race. I remember road racer Terry Crouch was notorious for making multiple brake bias adjustments in one lap. He was quick.
Yeah, I don't make those changes multiple times in a lap, but multiple times in a run, I'm changing, depending on where we are as far as tire wear and fuel load. So, been notorious for sometimes making too many changes.
Green back out. Good enough on the gas. Gets out to another half-second advantage right off the jump. Battle for second, Robertson and Osborne. Robertson way up the racetrack, just inches off the wall. It's going to open the door for Osborne. Still not enough, though. I guess Robertson had enough of a run down the back straightaway to maintain that second spot. And Albert Anderson's going around. Kelly Cool's with him. Caution comes out.
It's all on you, man. It's all on you. You make the call here.
It looks like this might have been stemmed from some contact with the 75 of Benfield. I'm going to try and get a better angle on it. I don't know if there is one. Oh, here we go. Thanks to the drone. Looks like Anderson was a little loose on entry, but then it stuck. I think Stoney just comes down a little bit. Doors the 99 and gets him upset. Albert almost had her saved, but Kelly Cool's come down here on the bottom, and I think the 10's going to get involved here as well. Yep.
Yeah, it almost looked like Stoney maybe didn't know that they were 3 wide, and he was anticipating Anderson being a little bit lower there. Allen, kind of jumping in on that low lane there down the backstretch, maybe caught him by surprise.
I think Kelly was just turning down. Caution number 7. It's been a rough one here in the early going here at Wilkesboro. We kind of expected to see some of this, though, short track racing being what it is. All right, doubled back up, lap 85 for the restart, half a lap away. Front row is still good enough in Robertson. Row 2, Osborne, Gaines, then Adamson, Vaught, Benfield, Burke, Bittner, Dixon. That's the top 10. Got DW Derek Welch in the chat. Couldn't make it tonight, but thanks for stopping in there, DW. Green flag back in the air. Not a great restart this time for Good Enough. Real good jump for Robertson. I just don't know if Good Enough got a bad restart or if Robertson just timed it perfect. Either way, he's going to tuck back in behind as Good Enough just back at the whip. Chris Klein a little loose on exit of turn 2, maintains his position though. Dylan Bryant closing the gap just a bit. He is not a lead lap car, I don't believe. Now he is still on the lead lap. Only 2 trucks a lap down or more. Andrew Player and Russ Kilgore. Kilgore did not take the green flag here tonight. Meanwhile, back out front, Craig Goodenough just blistering the field right now. 1.2 seconds back to Robertson in second. Last lap for Goodenough, a 19:53. By comparison, the next fastest driver was Alan Vaught in fourth with 19:67. I still want to know how someone cracked 17 seconds in practice. That's incredible. Alan Vaught now driving up into the second spot. Joe Canellis in the chat says Craig is putting on a show, but Alan Vaught now into the second spot. We'll see if he can reel Craig in. He's got 2 seconds to make up before he gets there.
I think you'll start to see him kind of reel Craig in, just with the tire difference, especially. But especially now that he's got clean air, he's worked through all the traffic back there, and I think you'll start to see him kind of dwindle away at that lead a little bit.
Caution.
And yellow is out.
All right, Bud, why don't you give me status on your car there?
Mike Adamson. Oh, Kelly Cool gets drilled in the driver's door by Gallagher. Caution number 8. 5 laps shy of halfway. Let's take a look. Kind of looks like Jason Gaines was checking up there to avoid the 3 wide. Then Bittner gets into Adamson on the front stretch, turns him, hammers the brakes to avoid hitting him more, and then Kelly Cool just drives up the tailgate. And then Kelly's going to get nailed here. Pit stop's underway. This is going to put the majority of the field back on the same sequence of strategy here. Only 3 drivers, and 2 of them are laps down that did not go that route. But Alan Vaught, Jeremiah Burke that is, goes fuel only. Oh, never mind, stays out. So Lori says that's the comp caution. I didn't know we were having a comp caution, so that's good to know. Thanks, Lori. Says you have to must pit and have to take 4 tires or get a DQ. So I wonder what the situation with Jeremiah Burke is. He's pitting now, but he stayed out on the racetrack, did not pit with the rest of the field. I don't know if they'll accept this as his pit stop. It does kind of give him a 1-lap fuel advantage.
Pit box the first time through.
What's that, Chris?
I wonder if he missed his pit box the first time through, because I think I saw him pulling out of the pits while we were watching Alan and Craig get their tires done. So I wonder if he missed his pit box the first time through and had to circle back around.
Well, I'm sure Lori will update us here in the chat. She's always good about that. So that's what we're trying to find out here. Jeremiah Burke, Lori, did not make pit lane, or at least did not make his pit stop when everybody else did during this comp caution. They're going to wave off the yellow here, or the green that is, try to get everybody lined out where they need to be. But we just want to find out if Jeremiah Burke is going to get credit for that pit stop coming down a lap later than everybody else. As he stands now, he'll restart. Looks to be about 14th. I think we are back on the 1 to go, though. In front row, looks more like it did earlier. Craig Goodenough and Alan Vaught.
not going.
And they're going to wave it off again, trying to get some wave arounds. Andrew Player's going to head around. So I believe the comp caution was originally scheduled for lap 100, but given the proximity to lap 100 of that natural caution, I think that's why the race officials decided to call that the comp. Still no word on Jeremiah Burke, but he's still out there, so I'm assuming he's good to go. Green flag back in the air, good enough on the jump. Alan Vaught with a good reaction, but now John Osborne's going to look to the inside. Robertson way up the racetrack in fourth. Oh, Alan Vaught goes around. Oh, he straightens it out, though. Off-road excursion for the 33, but he continues on, maintains position inside the top 10, but he's back in seventh with John McAdam breathing down his neck. Near disaster for Alan Vaught. He's lost a few positions, but the race isn't over yet. Halfway down, 103 laps go up on the board. We're going to step aside, get a track limit side-by-side break out of the way. Stay with us. We'll be back after this.
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back in North Wilkesboro, green flag back in the air. Lap 109 up on the board. Good enough still, putting on a show. Osborne second. Eaton now third. Robertson up the racetrack in fourth. And Alan Vaught, after a near miss, back into the top 5. John McAdam to the inside of Trevor Robertson. This 4 position, the 5th spot that is. Robertson's been one of the few drivers to work that top lane and make it work. Carrying that momentum, it's kind of a good way to defend, but man, he really gives up a lot of time mid-corner, but hauls the mail down the straightaway. Robertson loses the spot. Let's move McAdam into the top 5. Jeremiah Burke into the top 10 again. Battle behind him, Dylan Bryant, Larry Dickerson. Haven't seen a whole lot about Larry tonight other than one spin. Still no, working in the 11th position. Robertson back to the inside now, giving up the top lane. Gets to the inside of Ricky Wittenberg.
Yeah, that's somebody to keep an eye on too that we haven't talked about too much, other than that incident earlier, is that 55 truck. Wittenberg, his bread and butter is short tracks. He loves this. So I think before too long you'll see him up there battling in that top 5, top 3. Close to that front again.
He started in the 5th spot. Really, he's been inside the top 10 the majority of the afternoon, so that's good to see. Getting a question about the comp caution and what it actually is. Of course, not every race fan out there is as seasoned as some of us, but it's a competition caution. Not every series does it. Not every race does it. This is being the all-star race. They throw in a little bit of a caveat to say, all right, we're halfway. We're going to do a reset here. Throw the caution. Let everybody make a decision on strategy. But in this case, they forced the drivers to pit. They had to make a pit stop and take 4 tires. Fuel is kind of up to them, but it kind of puts that part of the strategy into the equation, getting on and off a pit lane, trying to beat those guys out of the pits. You can gain positions that way. Those pit stops are not equal as far as time is concerned, even if everybody takes 4. Some drivers were able to get it done in 14.2. Other guys went over 15 seconds. Maybe there was some damage to be repaired. But no, not every series runs those competition cautions. I know the ARCA series has kind of been known for it over the years. They run a non-competitive pit stop at halfway at some of the tracks, but hope that helps. But that's where we're at. To no one's surprise, good enough. Getting smaller and smaller out the windshield of the 33 of Alan Vaught. 1.5, the deficit back to second. Josh Bittner just won't go away. Comfortably in the top 5. Oh, and around goes McAdam. Off the nose of, I think it was either Wittenberg or Jeremiah Burke. We stay green. McAdam trying to get righted here. Get a quick look at this here. No caution for the 47. It was Ricky Wittenberg and John McAdam coming together. Ricky just comes up the track, and McAdams there. Now the battle with Larry Dickerson and Jeremiah Burke. Dickerson takes the 8th spot. Oh, Burke didn't take a liking to that. Gets into the back of Dickerson, sends him up the racetrack, but it wasn't enough to take that position back.
He crumpled in that left rear, though, so we'll see what that does for the handling of that 69 truck, too. You watched it kind of crumble in there when he got to him, so we'll see.
More action here towards the back of the pack. Robertson free falling through the field here. He's back in the 13th position now, battling with Albert Anderson. Anderson's going to take the spot here into 3. Oh, some contact behind him. Mayberry and Cawthon come together. Cawthon goes up the racetrack, continues on. Robertson real loose on exit at 2. Looking up and down the field here, seeing how many pit stops have been taken by some of these drivers. One driver that sticks out here is the 69 truck of Larry Dickerson. He's been on pit road 10 times tonight. Don't know if he's just trying to straighten the body panels on that truck with some small impacts throughout the race, but every chance he gets, he's coming down to pit. Getting to that point where we're maybe 6 to 8 laps away from everybody being within that fuel window if they make their final stop. And 61 to 65 laps, I think, was about where everyone expected to be. So let's call it 63 in the middle. Checking on things back up front, Goodenough's lead has dissipated considerably. It's now less than 0.4 of a second. Last lap for Goodenough, a full 10th slower than Alan Vaught. They're on the same strategy here as far as tires are concerned, so this might just be a strategy play for Craig, trying to take care of the truck, maybe save some fuel, maybe save a little tire. They still have 2 sets over the wall, these top 2 for certain. They've only been to pit lane twice. Knocking on wood here, but it seems that just about everybody out there has finally settled into a rhythm, and there's the caution.
How are you doing, bud?
It didn't even take the full
I didn't even get a chance to
sentence out of
finish
your
it.
mouth.
Take Stoney Benfield, maybe John Gallagher. Yes, indeed.
I need you to do me a favor, Steve. Next broadcast you do that I'm in the race, don't ever talk about me, please.
Oh, okay.
With that kind of luck.
All right, let's see exactly what happened here. At least we know the offenders involved. Benfield and Gallagher. Gallagher in the 123. I don't know. Did that look like a brake check to you?
I I don't know.
I know we're getting into the corner, but
either a brake check or a lack of brake check from the 123. Maybe I don't know if there was some bad blood there or not.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I don't know.
There wasn't before. There is now.
But this is going to put everybody in the pits here, with the exception of our race leaders, Craig Goodenough and Alan Vaught. They did not come down in pit. Just about everybody else did. This is going to get interesting. I'm wondering if Goodenough and Vaught are just kind of banking on there being more yellows, because their last pit stop came at lap 95. There is no way they can make it to the end on fuel. Or is there?
I would believe that there would be.
So at the line, it'll be 60 laps to go. So for certain, everybody that made their stop here at lap 138, they can make it to the end without a problem. I'm still dumbfounded here. The top two stay on the racetrack. Kind of wonder if maybe they got a little prop bet going on. It is the All-Star race after all. It is for fun and a little bit of money. All right.
Green, green, green.
Green flag back in the air. Goodenough leads, and Alan Vaught loses the second spot. Dustin Eaton with the fresher tires makes his way up to second, but the caution comes back out.
Doing a really good job. Tell me about your race car when you can.
Kelly Cool involved in this. Yes, indeed. Turned around off of turn 2. And he had some help, it looks. We'll back it up a little bit further here. Certainly some contact with Albert Anderson. And Albert had some help as well. Contact with the 10. Just looked like Albert didn't turn into the corner there. He was going to drive it up the racetrack, but you would have thought he could see the 10 there. So, caution number 11, and Goodenough and Vaught still stay out. I mean, Chris, am I missing something here? Is there some crazy strategy that could be at play that we're just not picking up on?
You know, if you're not picking up on it, I'm not either. The only thing I could possibly think of is maybe they're banking on, like, restart cautions, and a lot of them, to where they're just pacing the whole time and not giving the guys behind them the opportunity to use those tires. But I mean, you already see Eaton up in the second spot, so he's already taken advantage of those against Allen. So I don't know. I'm not sure I understand the strategy either, but that's why we're sitting up here and these guys are in the trucks, right?
Good point. Kyle Vaught makes a good point. Says, well, Kelly saved Albert's car there. It's true. They're trucks, though, Kyle. They're trucks.
I think Kelly is the driver's version of the broadcaster for this race. He's just cursed. I think everybody on track has hit Kelly at least once.
Green flag.
Green back in the air. Now Dustin Eaton in the second spot with some newer tires. We'll see if he's got anything for Craig Goodenough. Craig has been the class of the field all night long. See if that road racing background really pays off here at North Wilkesboro. Eaton goes around without a fight. Josh Bittner going to go too. Bittner gets the wall a bit off of turn number 2. Oh, trouble. Alan Vaught in the 55 go around to the backstretch. Ricky Wittenberg and Alan Vaught in trouble, and we don't get the caution. Just a moment ago. That's the tail end of it. We'll back it up a little bit further. Alan just got loose. Got to the power a little bit early on exit. Was trying to save the truck, kind of drove down into the 55 of Ricky Wittenberg, and the rest is history. Meanwhile, out front, Dustin Eaton advantage almost a second to Josh Bittner. Oh, Dylan Bryant and Burke battling side by side. They door slam out of 4. Are they going to split the 89? No, Goodenough closes the door, low side of the racetrack. Bryant going to try and go around top side. Burke nowhere to go, gets into the 69 of Dickerson out of 4. Well, you can tell it's go time. Business has picked up here at the Speedway. Burke just can't get around. Bit of a rolling roadblock is the 89, at least for the time being. Tell you, Chris, like you said, if they were banking on a bunch of cautions on these restarts, it's not paying off, because now we've had, I wouldn't say it's a long run, but the opportunity for another caution just off this restart. Every lap it gets smaller and smaller.
Yep, and you know, with the one benefit that they've got is they've got an extra set tires, but they're going to have to make up so much ground from falling back that I don't know that it's going to be a benefit to them.
Shadows getting a little bit longer here at North Wilkesboro, getting later in the day. Track temp has cooled quite a bit as well. 93 degrees Fahrenheit, much cooler than where we started at. I think it was 109. So Larry Dickerson, after his 11 pit stops, is still somehow in the top 5. Bravo, my friend. Dustin Eaton continues to lead here. First laps he's led here this afternoon, but he's got a 1.5 second advantage back to Josh Bittner. Bittner's last lap matching the race leader. So Chan the man in the stream chat says, this has been an interesting race. I wonder if Bittner has a few tricks up his sleeve. Jeremiah Burke working on Larry Dickerson for the 5th spot. Looking high, looking low, nowhere to go right now, and he loses a couple of truck lengths out of turn 4. Oh, Kelly Kuhl and Chris Klein come together. Greg Goodenough still back in the 11th position. I'm actually really impressed the distance that they've gone. I know we've had a bunch of cautions, and Kelly Kuhl is around, and the caution is out again. Well, this is the only, I think this is the last opportunity I think that Alan Vaught and Greg Goodenough are going to have to make this pit stop. I think they got to get it done now.
Absolutely. With 30 laps, a little more left, I think they're going to have all that time to be able to work their way back through.
Leaders on pit road, though. Dustin Eaton, Bittner, Osborne, Bryant, everybody can come down. They must have some tires still parked over the wall, if there was a wall. Kelly Kuhl's going to come down and pit. Looks like Alan Vaught will do the same, so not a lot of laps left. Kelly Kuhl shown in 8th for the time being. We'll see where he ends up restarting. Alan Vaught rolls on by. So Goodenough takes the tires. Alan Vaught putting 4 on as well. So one driver has stayed out on the racetrack. That's the 47 of John McAdam. He has made 5 pit stops overall on the night, so my only assumption here is that he doesn't have any tires left to play with. So we've seen the benefits of new tires versus old. He's going to get chewed up pretty quickly here. I can't imagine he can maintain that top spot for 30 laps. And Dustin Eaton right there behind him. He'll restart alongside. Eaton took 4 tires. Quick stop for Eaton, 1387. Must have hired that Cup crew. Tim McAdam in the chat says, here we go, Johnny, hold them off. It's going to be fun to watch. Just don't spin the tires. Here we go. Pace truck is in. Green back in the air. McAdam, good job on the restart. Hammer down. Osborne now looks to the outside, and we got trouble again in 3 and 4.
Caution.
Chris Klein will swap ends.
It's all on you. You make the call here.
Klein gets into Dickerson on the entry to 3. Caution number 13. John McAdam, John Osborne, still in the top 2. I think we're going to get the restart here with 25 to go. So looking down the line here, Craig Goodenough's going to restart in the 9th position. Alan Vaught will restart 14th. Lori in the chat says, good thing there's no penalties tonight. And she says that just because it means it's less work for them.
Green flag.
There it is, McAdam on the gas. Another great restart for the 47. Osborne runs in second. Bittner and Eaton side by side for third out of turn 2. Adam doing a good job. I'm surprised he's been able to maintain for now, but here comes John Osborne to the inside. Bittner's going to try and go around 3 wide for the race lead at North Wilkesboro. Osborne's got it. Eaton tucks into second. Now Bittner trying to take it away. Bittner with a big time run into the corner. Now gets around to Eaton looking for more. Wants the race lead out of 2. Osborne slams the door. 3 wide behind him. Goodenough goes to the inside. McAdam was stuck in the middle, now continues to free fall on those older tires. Battle for the lead again. Osborne has it. Bittner trying real loose out of 2. He'll pancake the wall. Straightens it out, slows the momentum from Dustin Eaton. Now Dylan Bryant gets to the inside. He's a part of this mix. Don't count out Craig Goodenough, though. 21 laps to go. He's there. He's in the top 5. Chris, I wonder how hard that impact hurt the 84 of Bittner. That was a pretty good lick.
Yeah, he definitely flattened that right side, so we'll see what it does as far as the end.
Jonathan Osborne continues to lead. The battle for second was 3 wide off of turn 4. Bittner has it for the time being. Down low, it's Dylan Bryant and Craig Goodenough. Now Dustin Eaton in the mix. A 4-truck battle for the second spot as Osborne continues to build a gap. Bittner drove it in real deep. It doesn't seem like that impact damaged his truck too bad. He still seems to have pretty good pace. We're still 3 wide behind him, though. Osborne out to a 1-second advantage with less than 17 laps to go. The battle for second still hot and heavy. Bittner, Goodenough, side by side. Goodenough has been the class of the field all night, but through some pit strategy, he got mired back about halfway through the field. Oh, there's trouble. Eaton goes around off a 4, hard into the inside wall. So caution is out with 16 to go, setting up a restart, erasing the lead that Osborne had on Craig Goodenough. I don't know if Goodenough would have got there or not. You know he's got the ability, but I just don't think there was enough laps left. But now the caution is out, a gift given to the 89. We'll watch the incident here with Dustin Eaton on the front stretch. Burke comes up the track. Eaton's kind of coming down a little bit. They meet in the middle. So a few drivers taking another opportunity to pit. John McAdam, Jack Dixon, Andrew Cawthon, Trevor Robertson. I guess McAdam did have a set of tires, so he'll have plenty of grip for the rest of this one. Might be too little too late, unfortunately. Well, if my calculations are correct, we should get the restart with 11 to go.
Quite the little shootout there.
Well, we ran about, 13 laps under green there since the last restart. Aggression level's going to go up again.
For sure. And you got to wonder how much of those tires that the 89 had to use coming through the field. He was running on the bottom 3 wide there for a couple laps. How much more tire did he have to use than the 81 who was kind of setting sail out front?
Pace truck about to make the hard left turn into pit lane. Barney with the green in hand. It's back out. 11 laps to go to settle it. And they went 3 wide again for the second spot. Bittner jumped to the inside of Goodenough, but Goodenough gets a much better exit. Oh, Bittner goes around.
Caution. Man, tell me what you got.
I don't think Brian ever touched him. I think Bittner was already loose there on corner exit.
Dylan did a good job of avoiding him, though. That's for sure.
Jeremiah Burke is going to pull down out of the top 5 here in pit with 8 to go. And he still has a set of tires sitting there. I don't know if those fire suits are SFI approved, though.
About a bold strategy.
Burke's still sitting there. I don't know if he's got damage to fix. There he goes. So it's been a busy one for the flagman here tonight. Caution number 15 here. 6.5 laps left in this one. We do have an opportunity at a green-white checkered finish if so necessary. John Osborne and Craig Goodenough made their pit stops both at lap 167. That's the case all the way back to P6 and Alan Vaught. Freshest tires in the top 10, Larry Dickerson, lap 173. Green flag back in the air. 5 laps to go. Osborne runs Goodenough up the racetrack, but opens the door for Dylan Bryant. Bryant looking for the race lead.
Caution's out.
And the yellow is out again with Dylan Bryant out in front.
There you go. Be ready with that brake clean and stuff, guys. Your blower. They're going to drop down some oil dry here, I'm sure.
John McAdam, the culprit this time. McAdam on new tires. Looks like McAdam may have come around by himself. Bittner gets a piece of that. So interestingly enough, Osborne will have the race lead at the restart. I guess that last timing loop showed the 81 as the leader at the time of caution. So Bryant will restart second. Goodenough back to third. Then it's Albert Anderson into the top 5. Speaking of top 5, Alan Vaught also in the top 5. I think Alan just reminded Craig that he's there.
Trying to get in his head for this green white check.
I think he was saying, all right, let's go. It's shake and bake time. So this will be a shootout, and I think this will actually put us into a green-white checkered unless it lets it happen as a natural green-white checker. I don't know. Should be getting the 1 to go here. If it goes back to 3 laps left, that is going to use up our green-white checkered attempt. And there it is. So overtime here in the All-Star race at North Wilkesboro. Green, white, checkered. 1 attempt. Dustin Wade. Well, at least he didn't drop the flag like Mikey did.
Green flag.
There it is. Green back in the air. Osborne gets away a little bit. Bryant goes right to the bottom of the racetrack in 1. Can he get the power down? Osborne maintains. Oh, trouble on the backstretch.
Caution.
And the caution is out. That's going to end it.
What do you think, bud? Do you think you're all right out there?
Yellow is out. This is the final lap. He just needs to maintain speed to get back around, and John Osborne will have an all-star win in his back pocket. "17 cautions on the night, and it's over. It'll end under the yellow flag." John Osborne, Dylan Bryant, Craig Goodenough. Craig just didn't have the time to get back up there. Chris, you kind of called that one early on. This one's over. Well, look at what triggered this caution. This was out of turn 3. Sorry, turn 2, that is. Dickerson gets clipped. It looks like Mike Adamson gets into him, straightens him out, but then everybody else just runs into him, knowing we're late in the going here. No one's going to check up. Robertson sneaks by on the inside. There you have it.
you what, there's no more pressure in one of these things than trying to hold off guys that may be on newer tires or maybe a little bit faster, throughout the run on these late restarts. And there's no better feeling than what Osborne was able to do and holding those guys off for as long as he did.
So, can you count this as a Polish victory lap? I mean, he's going the right direction. He's just doing it in reverse.
Right, he's pointed the right direction. He's just moving in the wrong one. So
thinks he's made her out there.
I guess this would be the Kyle Busch victory lap, isn't it? Because
there you go.
Back into the pits. He had to back it all the way into the pit.
Good news is the accelerator's fixed. The bad news is the transmission's screwed. Osborne will bring it back to start finish, and now he lights him up. Well, celebration over for John Osborne. We're going to step aside, get a break out of the way. We'll be back with our top 3 finishers after this. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Need insurance coverage that's built for speed? Frank Yea's office in South Charleston has your back. Whether you're blazing down the highway, protecting the home you've built, or setting up a legacy for your family, we've got the coverage you need. Auto, home, life, fast, simple, and made for you. Scan the QR code on your screen now to explore all our services and start a free quote today. Lock it in, save it for later, or call us at 304-744-7700 to get started.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Back at North Wilkesboro Speedway, the Vigilante Racing League All-Star Race in the books. Jonathan Osborne victorious. We're going to get a word with our race winner. Pull him up, the driver of the number 81, into the Track Limits broadcast booth. John Osborne, it's myself and Chris in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
John, congratulations, man. A 13th place starting position, drove it through the field. I thought no way you were going to hold these guys off at the end with Craig Goodenough coming as fast as he was, but you did it. You managed to get there, and the caution came out on that last restart. You were able to drive it to victory lane. Walk us through your race en route to this all-star victory.
Man, it was crazy. Started out pretty good and just tried to pile in there, and then that caution around lap 40 I pit, and then the very next caution I got caught up in damage, and so I had to ride around with damage for a while, but it actually was pretty good. I got up there to third, and then it was just about, after I got the track position, survival. I really got a mulligan on that second to last restart. I spun the crap out of the tires, and then somehow had the lead at the last scoring loop when that caution came out.
Well, it worked out for you certainly in the end. You earned it for certain. And speaking of earning, Lori is telling me that you are the new winner of $100 after taking the victory here at this all-star race.
Oh, right on, man. Like an old friend says, I was just rolling dice down in Waco, Texas.
There you go. Well, again, a job well done here at the all-star race. Now you look forward to the points race next week. Charlotte Motor Speedway is where we're headed next. How do you prepare for that mile and a half, that fast mile and a half?
I'd just keep the aero clean on the truck. Make sure that you get your pit road sequences right, and it's been an up and down season. I'm glad the last 3 races have been able to turn the ship around. Didn't make the playoffs, but we're gonna go play some spoilers for these playoff guys, I tell you that.
Go out there and hunt some trophies. Jonathan, congratulations again. We wish you the best of luck the rest of this season. Who do you want to thank before we let you go?
I'd like to thank my sponsors, Larry Donahue with Indecisive Chaos and Daystar Screens, and Josh Bittner with Track Dogs Racing, and everyone who makes this happen. You guys that broadcast this, Lori and Jess that put up with all of our shenanigans, and it's a great family to be involved with.
Certainly agree with you on that one, Jonathan. Congrats again. Thanks for talking to us. Good luck next week, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Hopefully we can have another interview next week.
Always a possibility. It's John Osborne, your race winner here from North Wilkesboro Speedway. Next, we're going to talk to the runner-up, Dylan Bryant, and I'm sure he's going to have something to say, but, well, let's not assume. Let's just get it out of him and find out for sure. Dylan, it's Steve and Chris in the booth. You got us?
Steve, Chris, what's up?
Dylan, congratulations, man. A runner-up finish. I know at the All-Star race, that's like kissing your sister, but either way, a strong run by you. Started 7th, you finished P2. It was certainly close there at the end. Caution comes out, kind of takes away your opportunity to try and pass Osborne at the end there. Why don't you walk us through those final couple of restarts and what maybe you could have done differently?
Yeah, well, I took my last set of tires with 33 laps to go, and I know that Greg and them was mired back in traffic a tad bit more, and I was like, I'm going to take my last set now, because I don't think with the aggression of the race towards the end, it was going to be cautions and stuff. So I took my tires and stuff, and I think Osborne spun some, and he watched the track on Greg, and I was like, well, hey, I'm going to go low because passing here is hard, and I was out front, but I guess it went back to the last scoring loop, and at that point I kind of knew. I'm like, all right, I don't think it's going to go green to the checkered, so So I ain't sure if Greg spun his tires on that last restart, and I got down in front of him, and I was there on Osborne, but I'm not the type to try to bump a guy on purpose and slide him up the track and stuff. And I was going to do it clean, but then that caution came out, and hey, Osborne's a great guy, so I couldn't be more pumped for him.
There's no penalties tonight, Dylan. You should have dumped him.
Nah. well, yeah, but I guess just me knowing that that I crashed the guy for the lead or to win. I take second or third. So.
Well, second it was, Dylan. Congrats on that. Still a job well done. A clean racer you are. Looking forward to Charlotte Motor Speedway next week. Back to points racing. How do you prepare for Charlotte?
I'm going to be disappointed if I don't get a top 3. So, I missed one of my best tracks, and it's not all the time at momentum, like wide open. It's a habit of throttle play, especially in 3 and 4, and some tire saving, and I'm good at that, and hopefully as as long as I don't get caught up in the accidents, I should be in at least the top 5. So hope so.
All right, Dylan. Well, we look forward to it, man. Who do you want to thank before we let you go?
First and foremost, VRL, all the guys that was in the race tonight. It's the best of the best, and the other 20 guys and stuff, man, they great too, and the best of the best. And so shout out to them, shout out to Osborne and Greg. It was a great race, and Steve, y'all with track limits and stuff does a great job every week for us, and I'm definitely glad to have y'all on board. And also a huge shout out to Lori and Jess too on Dylan with us, and carrying on the league. So it's a great league. So, and that's it.
All right, Dylan. Well, thanks for talking to us, man. Good luck next week in Charlotte.
All right, I'll catch y'all next week.
It's Dylan Bryant, your runner-up here in the All-Star race. Last but not least, third place finisher, the number 89 of Craig Goodenough. Just too little, too late. Unfortunately, Craig Goodenough, class of the field this evening, wasn't able to bring it home into victory lane, but a third-place finish nonetheless. Craig, Steve, and Chris in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, we got you, buddy.
Craig, congrats, man. I know it's not what you wanted. You were having a very strong run here tonight. You get around this place like you were born here. First of all, walk us through what makes you so good here.
I thoroughly enjoy short track racing, and I spend probably way too much time doing it.
Fair enough. Well, with that said, maybe work on strategy a little bit more. It seemed like yourself and Alan Vaught had a different tire plan at play. I think the pit stops, everybody else came down. You guys stayed out. And that cost you as far as lap time was concerned, but then you had an opportunity late to put some tires on. Did you just burn up your stuff trying to get back through the field, or just the cautions kind of hurt you, or maybe a combination of both?
I had plenty of tire left. I just didn't have time. I needed a good 2 or 3 lap run to really get rolling and stick it to the bottom. I glue this thing right on the bottom. I don't know if you guys noticed that. So, and I can usually kind of work my way through the field that way. I just needed some more time to run. And the strategy stuff, I was just playing with Alan because I know he was wanting to get off my strategy, and I was like, I'll just stay out just to keep messing with him, and it ended up costing me in the end. So, but I'll take a third.
So blame Alan. I got you. Well, either way, it was an impressive run to watch. You and Alan at least trying to watch a battle there. I just didn't think anybody had anything for you, but third place, that's why you don't take the hats to victory lane before the race is over. We look forward now to Charlotte Motor Speedway coming up next week. What's the game plan rolling into Charlotte? Certainly not a short track, much faster, higher banked, but still I think a place that you can perform well at.
I think we're going to get the strategy and not play any head games and just pay attention to mine, and then we'll go from there.
Well, fair enough. Sounds like a good plan, Craig. Congratulations again. Who do you want to thank before we let you go?
Everybody that's out watching out in the YouTube land, I appreciate all the support, all the texts that I get the next day and everything else. I really thoroughly appreciate that. Like the dog to be quiet. I thank her for being quiet most of the race time. You guys could probably hear her. And then thank you guys for putting on everything, and of course, Justin Laurie.
All right, Craig. Well, thanks for talking to us, man. Good luck next week.
Okay, thank you.
That's Craig Goodenough, your third place finisher here in the All-Star race. That'll wrap up the interviews for tonight's broadcast. Let's take a look here at our race results. We talked to John Osborne, Dylan Bryant, Craig Goodenough. Those were your top three finishers. Alan Vaught came home fourth. Albert Anderson was fifth. Chris Klein sixth. Kelly Kuhl was seventh. Ricky Wittenberg eighth. Stoney Benfield was ninth. Andrew Coffin 10th. Josh Bittner 11th. Trevor Robertson was 12th. John McAdam finished in the 13th position. 14th went to Jeremiah Burke. Mike Adamson 15th. 16th was Dave Mayberry. Jack Dixon was 17th. Larry Dickerson 18th. 19th Jason Gaines. Dustin Eaton 20th. Andrew Player 21st. 22nd John Gallagher. And last but not least, did not take the green here tonight, Russ Kilgore, credited with the 23rd finishing position. That'll wrap it up for us here at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Chris Goins, once again, thank you for joining us here in the booth. We certainly do appreciate that each and every week. We'll see you this weekend. Heading to Charlotte. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you at the next one.
See you guys later.